What is up guys, and welcome back to SPVIDZ. In today's video I'm back talking about the 3.0 update, and in particular two features. That's two, isn't it? Yeah, I almost did that then, which would have been four. Two features which I think are an absolute game changer when they're combined with one another. I'm sure some of you have already picked up on this, but for those of you that haven't, I wanted to show you through this one. Now this one is particularly for those of you that like finishing your beats in DAWs like Logic and Ableton, or maybe even FL Studio, because this combination of things is going to make your life so much easier, and I really like the way that this now helps with this. So this is to do with patterns, and it's to do with selectively copying samples to new patterns, and it's to do with the pattern bouncing feature. So I'm actually going to have to remember how to do both of these. I mean, I think the key combinations on this device are getting absolutely out of control now because there's so many features, but I'll do my best to remember everything and make this a smooth process. So let's go into this pattern, and it seems like it's becoming a bit of a joke this, but I'm actually going to use this same pattern that I've been using for so many demonstrations recently, and it's mainly because I actually quite like the sound of this beat and it's just on my machine. So apologies if you're getting sick of this beat, but yeah, I'm going to use this one as an example again, and if you haven't heard it before, it's this. Okay, so kind of like a little jazzy thing, and what I'm going to start showing you now is that, let's say we want to finish this beat off in a DAW, so I'm going to say, I'm just going to keep using Ableton as the example from now on because that's what I have, but you can just interchange that with whatever DAW you have. The first thing we're probably going to want to do is sort of get the stems. I think that's the correct term for it. So we're going to want to separate everything out and have it on its own file. And the way that we can do this is by using this selective copying. So let's say, for example, I just want one pattern. I want it to be in that BPM, which is 69 BPM, but I only want the hi-hat. And then when I go to Ableton, I'll be able to put that on its own track and do EQ or whatever I want to do with those hi-hats. So I'm here in the patterns, I'm going to do copy, and then I'm going to hit pattern 2. And then you can see here on the screen, remain, samples to copy. So I'm going to hit remain, and I'm going to hit the hi-hat. And hopefully, I know with my studio lights it's really hard to see the lights on the keypad here or on the pads here, but I've just pressed 15, so I've only pressed the hi-hats. And then I'm going to come out of remain and I'm going to copy those down, and it's showing me these as the available pads on this bank. So let's go ahead and do this to 15, I guess. That says that that's free. That usually would be my hi-hat sound, so I'm a little bit confused by that, but I'm going to go ahead and do that anyway. And then I'm going to hit copy to confirm that. And now, sorry, okay, that's because I was getting confused with bouncing. I'm only copying the pattern now, so that's why all those were available. So if I hit 15 now, okay, you can hear there that I've only got the hi-hats. So that's a really good start, and I'm just going to do one more example because I don't need to do the whole thing to show you guys, because I'm not going to insult your intelligence like that. You guys will understand what I'm doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy again, 2 again, this time remain, and I'm going to choose the snare, come out of remain, and then I'm going to choose 14, going to copy the pattern to 14, there we go, copy, and now I should just have another pattern with just the snares. Let's have a listen. Okay, so you can see now I've got one pattern with hi-hats, one pattern with snares. I'll go ahead and do the same for the kick, and then one for the pattern as well, the melody. You can hopefully understand the concept here. What I'm doing is getting every individual sound and getting that into its own pattern on its own, isolated, so that when I get to my DAW, I can put those on individual tracks, and then I'll be able to do whatever the hell I want with them. It'll give me a lot more flexibility once I'm in there. So we've done those. Now, how are we going to get those patterns off the machine and into the DAW? We basically need a WAV file. And the way we're going to do this is use the new bouncing feature that we've got in the Mark II. This is another 3.0 update, so it's, again, really handy. And to do this, I'm going to go ahead and do this snare track, which is 14 down here. So I'm going to do copy, snare, and as you can see here, it says copy pattern. And once I've chosen 14, I'm going to press pattern select, and you should see here that copy changes to sample. And now it's given me the available pads that I can copy that to. So I've got 6, 7, and 10. So that's outside of the pattern area. That's the bank which I'm copying to. So I'm going to choose 6. Let's just say 6, that'll do the job. Copy. And it's doing that now. It's bouncing that down to a single pad, and that's then going to be able to be exported really easily. So let's go ahead and wait until this is finished. Okay, that's done. So that's taken us out of the pattern area, which is nice. And if we hit 6 now, you can see there that we've just got those snare sounds, and you can see on the waveform as well, we've just got those snares. So then if we go ahead and exit out of this and we do Shift and 14, which is import and export, and I'm going to do export to SD card. I'm going to do sample, and then I'm going to choose 6, and I'm going to press enter. Okay, and that's done that, and now that's available on my SD card as a WAV file. And what I can do is just go ahead and drop that onto a track in Ableton. So I'll just do that hi-hat one as well. Go back into pattern select 15, and we'll do copy 15, and it's a sample, and we'll copy that to 7. That was much quicker that time because I could remember the process. And that's doing the working again, so let's wait for this to finish. So 7 now, if we go and look at that in the start and end, it's quite quiet, but you can see that this is the hi-hat track. So let's give that the same treatment. Let's come out of there, Shift, Import and Export, Export to SD card, Sample, and it's 7 there. Enter. So now we should have those hi-hats and those snares. Let's go over to Ableton and I can show you how that works. Okay guys, so I'm here in Ableton, and what I've done is gone ahead and tracked out all those individual things. So I've got samples, hats, snares and kicks. I might just actually rename these. So let's go for samples, hats, snare and kick. So that's nice and clear now, and I've got this folder, I'm hoping you can see this, where I've basically just made a little folder called beat, and each one of those individual sounds from my pattern, I've exported those separately, and I've got the files here you can see. So I can go ahead and just drag these across. So samples, hats, snares and kick, and what I should have here now is that full beat from my SP, but all tracked out here in Ableton. So let's give this a listen and see what this sounds like. Okay, this is sounding a little bit weird, and there's a reason for that. You can see here that my project is set to 88 beats a minute, and because these are all warped, it's actually stretching them so that they fit to that. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the original tempo, which was 69. I have no idea why that tempo is 69, but I can only assume it's either because I was supposed to do 70 and got it wrong, or I slightly adjusted it to make the chops fit properly. And I think this has got some EQ on it, so let's get rid of that as well. Now let's have another listen. Okay, so we can see there that's really working now. We've got that beat sounding exactly like it was on the SP, but we've got control over each individual side of things. So let's try some EQ on the hats, for example, and maybe with the snare as well. Maybe I'll pitch that up a couple. So go into here and transpose it, and let's have another listen. And actually that sounds a little bit weak with this EQ, so I'm going to go ahead and just add some bass to this. So let's see if we can add a bit more of a thicker tone. So let's get one like this, and we can hopefully boost that bass a bit. There we go. And also I'm going to take off some of the highs as well, so something like this looks quite nice. And let's see if that makes it sound a little bit better. And there we go, this is really, really powerful, and I could also track out this whole track as well if I wanted to. So let's say, just very, very quickly, because I realise this is turned into a bit of a different topic, but let's say I wanted to just make a track. This could be the intro of just the sample, then it could be just the hats, and then everything coming in, and maybe we'll do a fade here, so we've got something like this. And there we go, that's super powerful, I think, and that's been the easiest it's ever been to track out stuff on the SP404 Mark II, thanks to that combination of features that have been introduced in 3.0. So what did we have to do? We had to make patterns and copy the patterns selectively so that each pattern had just one sound in it. Then we had to bounce all those to pads, which is now easy to do with the 3.0 feature, export them to the SD card, put the SD card into the computer, and then drag them into Ableton. So it's a bit of a convoluted process, I do have to admit, but the end result is this complete flexibility over your beat. You can EQ, chop and change samples, you can cut bits out like this, you can arrange a whole song, you can do so much once this is inside Ableton, so it's really powerful, and I definitely think it's worth spending the time doing, just so you have that full control over your final beat. Okay guys, so that's it for this one. I hope this was useful. I think those two in combination are really powerful now. We can basically get the stems from our tracks that we've made in the pattern sequencer, and we can go and put them in Ableton and do the final nice little touches like EQ, or maybe adding some pauses in, or maybe arranging the track as well. It will be a lot easier in a digital audio workstation. I know that some of you like to keep it all in-house on the SP404 Mark II, but for those of us, myself included, we like to do some finishing touches in a DAW. This is a really easy way to do that. So thanks for watching. If you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to check out SPVIDZ.com for all my latest beat packs and merchandise. That keeps me doing what I'm doing here. So if you need some drums for your new projects, if you need some new t-shirts, anything like that, go ahead and check out SPVIDZ. All the links are in the description below. And yeah, it just keeps me doing these videos, guys. So I would really appreciate that. Apart from that, guys, as usual, keep making beats, and I will be back with fresh content soon. Peace.